Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
All righty. How many people out there are fans of Caddyshack? Come on. You have to be. I was thinking about this. I was putting together a column. Should be up. I don't even know if it's up on our website yet. Economic Metaphors and Nature. And I started off the column with a bit from Caddyshack. And I came to the realization that Caddyshack next year is 40 years old. That movie came out 40 years ago. And the funny thing is you can watch it, and it's not the slightest bit dated. You think about it. The clothes that they're wearing on the golf course, pretty much the same clothes they're wearing today. Okay, the cars might be a little bit different to some degree, but the movie hasn't been dated 40 years. And the same type of culture on the country clubs. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Watchdog on Wall Street show. The bit that I put into the column was from a conversation between Judge Smales, played by Ted Knight, and Ty, played by Chevy Chase. And they're in the locker room. They're in the locker room there, and Judge comes up to Ty, and he's like, "Ty, what did you shoot today?" "Oh, Judge, I don't keep score." "And how do you measure yourself with other golfers?" "By height." Anyway, I thought about that. I put it into the column because how I go about handling and measuring things in the world around us, which is very, very different than the Wizards of Smart. The Wizards of Smart, the talking heads, the chattering classes on TV, all the smarty pants in the mainstream media. Let me ask you a question. Does it, do you get confused? Does it not make sense to you when they come out and they start talking about how low unemployment and higher wages could be bad? I'm going back to years, decades ago, when I first started in the business, and I'm watching this and this idea out there being floated, and it's inflationary and it's bad, it's terrible, it's going to do all these things, and I didn't ever make any sense to me. But sitting at a desk in a corner of a large brokerage firm, I got to raise my hand and ask a question, and how that didn't make sense to me, I just kind of went along with it. Thank God I started thinking for myself. How many times have we been told that, oh no, we got to worry about the economy overheating? The labor market's too tight. Wages are too high. Last week's job report, 3.5%. It hasn't hit that number since 1969. Since 1969, it hasn't hit that number. You take a look at wages, which have been rising at a nice clip, something that we haven't seen since the 1990s. And what do we get? We get all of the tarot card readers out there, all enamored with the idea that the evil inflation monster, the evil inflation monster is going to rise from the ocean like Godzilla, laying waste to everything in its path. Oh, no, here comes that inflation again. There was a column a couple years ago, and I saved it. and some bits and pieces from it. It was Stephen Moore and Larry Kudlow put it together. And they cited a 1958 paper by an economist by the name of A.W. Phillips. And it basically posited a relationship between unemployment and wages. We call it, you'll hear them talk about this. You'll hear the tarot card readers and the smarty pants is on CNBC talk about the Phillips curve. Now, Mr. Phillips was right that wages tend to rise as unemployment falls. Ooh, shocker. Less workers. Need to pay people more. Need to attract. Again, this is not rocket science stuff. These guys have their theories in textbooks and things that anybody who has run a business in their entire lives knows is just fact. It's kind of like, water's wet, sky is blue. We don't really think much about it. In the 1960s, you had economists Paul Samuelson and Robert Solow wrongly extending this theory, suggesting a linkage between unemployment and general inflation. And they still follow this nonsense. Let's think about this for a second. Let's go back to the Kennedy tax cuts in the 1960s. What happened? Low inflation, strong dollar. The 1970s, the dollar collapsed when Nixon took us off the gold standard. Unemployment and inflation rose simultaneously. During the Reagan tax cut boom, which lasted all the way through the 1990s, unemployment and inflation fell at the same time. This is as the dollar stabilized. Just like Ty from Caddyshack evaluating his golf game differently, we evaluate economic strength differently from the chattering classes. In our opinion, the greatest economic indicators, along with being the greatest social program, is, quite frankly, a strong labor market. I don't even pay that much attention to GDP numbers. I'm going to take that into account right now, where GDP is today. GDP would be over 3% today, easy, no problem, if we weren't engaged with a trade war with China. Does that mean that I think that this trade war with China is somehow a bad thing? No, I do not. No, I do not, because I am a long-term, thoughtful individual. I understand what it means for our future. I don't pay attention much to trade deficits, all this other nonsense. The question is, can people find a job? Are wages going up? And if that's the case, guess what? The consumer is strong. Real simple. All those things are in the affirmative. Guess what? You're on the right track. Wages are now increasing at a pace that we have not seen since the 1990s. Again, our unemployment rate hasn't been this low since 1969. I've been on the road a lot, too much, over the past couple of months. And I'm managing it with work and kid stuff. In the summertime, I'm on lacrosse tours with tournaments. Now I got work, and I've also taken my son to visit various different colleges and universities. Wherever I go. Doesn't make a difference. Help wanted signs. If I'm in Boston, if I'm in Philadelphia, it doesn't make any difference. Help wanted signs everywhere. Is that an indicator of an imminent recession? I still get a kick out of the people that keep going on TV talking about this imminent recession. We have help wanted signs everywhere. I want to mention something else as well. And this, no one ever talks about this. Again, I'm a free market guy. You know what a tight labor market does for our society? Tight labor markets do more to benefit society than any other moronic Elizabeth Warren, AOC, doesn't make any difference, any other wasteful government program that's looking to fix societal ills. For example, employers are much more likely to hire ex-convicts when the labor market is tight. Employers are more likely to be accommodative on scheduling, allowing for single mothers and senior citizens to join the labor force. Employers are more likely to hire people who are disabled. Employers are more likely to add benefits such as health care and retirement plans to attract workers. You get the idea here, kids? No government program, no legislation, no long-winded speeches, just the government getting out of the way. That's it. We're going to do a lot today here on the program and how the world works. I think it's important, especially in today's day and age. We're bringing Kylie Jenner on the program today. Not literally, but we're going to talk about Kylie a little bit later on the program. That might shock you. And much, much more. We're going to take a break. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Our site, WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. Become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Our 24-hour day help hotline is 800-471-5984. That's 800-471-5984. Be back.
Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Sure. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. Again, always honored to have you tuned in to the program. Over the years on the program, I've tried to dispel conventional wisdom as best I can. And I am bombarded all the time with, the part of the great conspiracy to keep people poor and stupid. And one of the things that they use is really bad metaphors. We've tried to get you to understand the economy at large and think of it like nature, an ecosystem, not an engine. It's the economy's not an engine. It's not. You can't work on the economy. You can't tinker with the economy. You can't go in your garage and soup up the engine. You can't do it. That's not what the economy is. Trying to get your arms around and grasp the countless transactions, the countless interactions of our economy is an exercise in futility. It is. But these people think that they can get their arms around it. They think that they can understand it. What happens inevitably when we get all of these wizards of smart and all these economists and all these policymakers and all these think tank people, what they end up doing is they make matters worse. Period. I thought about this. I said, if the Federal Reserve was honest, if they were really honest, we're always looking at the Fed. No, the Fed's like, what are this Fed thing saying? If they were actually honest on their website, they should have a tagline stating, the Fed, causing recessions since 1913. There was a piece a couple of years ago in Investors Business Daily that actually poked fun at all of the idiotic metaphors that are used by the chattering classes. Every conversation about the economy invariably compares it to a mechanical device. When the economy's going well, it's humming or chugging along. When it's not, it's sputtering or stalled. We prime the pump with stimulus spending during a recession and hope the economy will reach escape velocity. Tax cuts and more federal spending can fuel growth or turbocharge it. Money gets pumped into it. Economists look for red lights flashing because if the economic engine is revved too much, it could overheat. To prevent this, the Fed sometimes must tap on the brakes. hitting the brakes too hard, however, can drive the economy into a ditch. It's like a George Carlin bit, for crying out loud. It is. The purpose of metaphors is to aid people in understanding topics that might be somewhat complicated or abstract. Unfortunately, the use of these types of metaphors is terribly wrong and leads inevitably to the old axiom, bad metaphors leads to bad policy. Again, I want everybody to think about this for a second. Think about this. Close your eyes, as long as you're not driving. Close your eyes. Think of all the interactions, all the random events that happen over the course of a day. Just random. I'll think of one. I don't know why it just popped into my head. Maybe it's because I want some coffee. This summer, I was introduced to cold brew nitro. It must taste like Guinness beer, for crying out loud. It is awesome. Now, if I wasn't randomly introduced to that, I would know about it. Now, I crave it. And I go out and get it all the time. Random, right? Look outside your window and watch nature for a while. Is there anything mechanical about life at all? Anything at all? When you watch leaves falling from a tree, is there anything mechanical about it? Our economy is life. Comparing the economy to an engine means that it's made up of parts that interact in precise ways. And that, if they break down, can easily be fixed by some of our wizards of smart, our smart technicians. It suggests that pushing the right buttons and flipping the right switches, adding the right mix of fuel in the proper amounts will keep it running smoothly. No. What do we get after bad metaphors thrust us toward bad policy? Stimulus plans. Think about this stuff. Stimulus plans that don't stimulate. Fed policy causing recessions. Jobs programs that don't create jobs. Bailouts that don't solve, but rather extend the current problems at hand. Subsidies that cause a disconnect in the markets, that inflate prices, like healthcare subsidies or housing subsidies or higher education subsidies. Doesn't make any difference. It gives us a tax code that is an incomprehensible 70,000 plus pages long. You know, Carlin mentioned George Carlin, and he did a whole bit on climate change and the save the earth types out there. And he went on this rant, and I grabbed it, and I grabbed part of it. He said that the planet has been through a lot worse than us. Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, hundreds of thousands of years of bombardment by comets, asteroids, meteors, worldwide floods, tidal waves, worldwide fires, erosion, cosmic rays, reoccurring ice ages, and we think some plastic bags and some aluminum cans are going to make a difference. The planet isn't going anywhere. We are. He says, we're going away. Pack your blanking bags, folks. We're going away. And we won't leave much of a trace either. Maybe a little styrofoam. The planet will be here, and we'll be long gone. The planet will be here for a long, long, long time after we're gone, and it will heal itself. It will cleanse itself, because that's what it does. It's a self-correcting system. Let me think about this for a second. I know, I'm tying in nature, all of this stuff. But you remember, right now, we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the program, they're shutting down the power in many places in California because they're afraid that there's going to be another fire. Did anybody happen to see the areas that were burned 6 months, 8 months, a year after? After the wildfires destroyed countless acres of forest in California, Mother Nature came roaring back. I explained here on the program. You get those beautiful sequoia trees out there. They don't grow unless there's a fire. We can't fix nature. We can't make the rainforest come back. We cannot make endangered species reappear. We cannot fix a coral reef. We also cannot fix our economy. What we can do is leave them alone and they will repair themselves. The free market is a self-correcting system. Just get out of the way. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Do that.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime.
I was speaking to a wise individual this week. It's one of the great things about my business and this radio show. I've got listeners all over the country, got clients all over the country, all over the world for that matter, that are done amazing things. Inventors, entrepreneurs, teachers, professors, it's just so many different things. And it's great to be able to speak with them and listeners as well. And speaking of one of my clients / listeners this past week, after last week's program, I was pretty hot and bothered last week. When I go back and listen, we save all of our shows. They're all up on podcasts along with our daily podcasts as well. Offered me a bit of advice, said, Chris, your frustration, and I get it. But he pointed this out to me, and I had to write it down. And I'm going to probably use it again and again and again because it was brilliant. I asked if it was okay. It's like, I didn't come up with it. It's just true. It's just true. There's just truths of life, truths of the universe, things that we talk about here on the program, like everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. He pointed out, he said, as a species, we're easier to fool than convinced we've been fooled. We refuse to face the truth. I'm going to say it again. As a species, we're easier to fool than convinced we've been fooled. That's been my life, for crying out loud. Trying to convince people that they're going to get ripped off and no, that they don't go along with it. That's what I do. And I loved it and wrote it down, and I'm going to use it again and again and again. And I was thinking about it this past week. I saw the story about the big brokerage firms. Not even the big brokerage firms, also the regional brokerage firms. We, at Markowski Investments, we put together portfolios, people. Everyone's portfolio is unique. Everyone's portfolio is different. You want to think of it as a hedge fund of you. That's what we do. And one of the things that we consider, we take a hard look at it, is what you're paying in fees and what money managers are charging. And as of late, there's been a lot of great low-cost index funds that we put into people's portfolios. And I saw this story about how the major brokerage firms, the big boys out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and also the regional ones as well, they took a look and they found that, guess what? They're not putting their clients into low-cost index funds. They're leaving their clients into the high-cost mutual funds. Surprise, surprise, right? No, don't be surprised. It's who they are. It's what they are. It's what they do. It's how they got paid. Last year we're talking about Edward Jones and how Edward Jones, they're regional, right? Oh, yeah, they're marketing. They're your hometown folksy, everyone knows your name firm, right? Nonsense. The brokers have to buy what they're told to buy. Just that simple. It is what it is. They have their menu. And they get kickbacks. The firm gets kickbacks based upon the funds that are sold. It's just another idea out there that, talking about the fallacy of free. See the stories as of late talking about all of these discount houses out there going to zero commissions. Right. So you ever ask yourself the question, how do they keep the lights on? Guess what? Take a look at the interest that they're paying on your cash. Go ahead. Take a look. All that cash that you have in your account that has to be swept. See what you're getting on your cash. Nothing. Nothing. Well, they're making money on it. They're making a lot of money on it because they're paying you nothing. Not to mention in some of these robo-advisor accounts that they have out there. Charles Schwab has got those accounts there. What are they called? Schwab Intelligent Portfolios. Part of the rules of the portfolio, this robo-advisory service, is that you must have a certain amount of money in cash. That's all well and good. I understand that too. But when you're not paying anything on the cash and you are making all the money on the cash, I find that a bit problematic. Here's a rule, people. If the product is free, you are the product. That makes sense? Like Facebook. Facebook is free. No. Oh, yeah. You're the product. They're selling you. Oh, they're not charging any commissions. I got robo-account. Oh, you know what? They're making money off you. You're going to get worse executions when they sell your trade off to the high-frequency trade. It's all legal. Yeah, I found this extraordinary. I really did. Everybody, oh, wow, this one's going to no commission. That's all well and good. But they still have to keep the lights on. Wouldn't you rather know, just out of curiosity, wouldn't you rather know what you're paying rather than have somebody dip into your wallet when you're not looking? I'm just saying. This is what all these robo-advisors and all this stuff do. They're dipping into your pocket when you're not looking, and they're taking money, and they're not telling you. Why would you want to do business with somebody like that? WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Our newsletter. Consultations with our certified financial planners. Get your financial plan done the right way. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back. This song brings back memories. Welcome back. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. All right. I don't know if you caught this story. Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos. The founder of Theranos, she's now unable to pay her lawyers, so her lawyers quit. I want to remind everybody, now there's been a documentary done on this, a book written about her. Silicon Valley darling. She was heralded as the next Steve Jobs. The next this, the next that. And we hear that all the time. Oh, it's the company's the next this. It's the next Google. It's the next Steve Jobs. Really? Okay. Again, we smelled the rat right away, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter because the media loved the story. It was a great story. As a young woman, she dropped out of Stanford. She's so smart, and she's a girl, and this is great. And look at what they're doing. This is transformation. And they don't look into the company. They don't look into the technology. They don't do any digging at all. His story is great. We're going with it. Let's not dig into anything. No. And then after everything falls apart, they love writing the story on the way out about the implosion and what happened and how the fall from grace. And they love covering that too. She wouldn't have existed. Elizabeth Holmes wouldn't have existed. Theranos wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for the media, the mainstream media, if it wasn't for CNBC, the entire system that decided to prop that company up, to tout that company. How could they all be wrong? Very easily. I know this is kind of scary to some people, but you can't trust anything that you're seeing in the mainstream media anymore. You can't. I don't care who's saying it, for crying out loud. I think you might have learned that. Wasn't it Jim Cramer that told everybody, oh, no, Bear Stearns is fine. It's not going down. Everything's going to be great. Really? How did we know? More on this mainstream media, Silicon Valley, and how they're ripping you off when we get back. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Don't be one of the greater fools. We're here to help.
Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street. You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
All right. I know. I've been talking about this a lot. I do it on my podcast. I do it here on the weekend program. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse. I don't want to repeat myself. But every week, every day, that day that goes by where there's not a big teachable moment that will help you if you really pay attention to be a better investor, to understand the world around you. I'm trying to open up your eyes to see the world as it is, not as the watchdog on Wall Street, axis of evil, big business, the politicians, mainstream media, what they're trying to present to you. Story this past week about the CEO of SoftBank. Masayoshi Son says he's embarrassed and flustered by his track record after the valuations of WeWork and Uber have fallen. Right. Sure you are. I want everybody to understand that the people in the Vision Fund, the employees there, they own stock in that thing. They are going to get crushed. Let me tell you something. Masayoshi Son doesn't care. He doesn't care. He says he's embarrassed and flustered. Right, sure. People, I live on the North Shore of Long Island. I told this story. I know where all of the guys from Lehman Brothers live, the people that ran the company. They're not wanting for anything. Do you understand? They're not wanting for a damn thing. Masayoshi Son will be just fine. You know, we talk about, the guys that get a lot of the press. They get the movie, the Scorsese movie, The Wolf on Wall Street, doing Jordan Belfort. Jordan Belfort is small potatoes. Small potatoes. It's kind of, I keep thinking of Don Corleone, Godfather 1. It's like Tatalia's a pimp. He's a pimp. He's nothing. He's small potatoes. And if you're going to steal, well, steal legally and steal big. Because that's what Masayoshi Son does. That's what J.P. Morgan does. That's what Goldman Sachs does. They don't care. Do you understand? They don't care. What they're doing is perfectly legal. Just like it was perfectly legal for Goldman Sachs and the other firms to put out crappy investment product, knowing that it was going to collapse, selling it, and betting that it was going to go down. They didn't do anything illegal. That's the system. And you need to understand it. You need to understand how the world works. You can yell and you can scream about it all you want, How many thousands of pages of legislation have we had since the dot-com collapse, huh? How many? Sarbanes-Oxley, Dodd-Frank. Has it done anything? Anything at all? The blow-ups that we're seeing right now, did we not tell you that all of this stuff was going to happen? We did. It was plain as day. Most people just didn't want to listen. It's just that simple. There was a great article written by an NYU professor. His name's Scott Galloway, and he makes quite the comparison of the way this works nowadays. And money, capital. None of these companies are real. He actually compared it. He compared these companies to a rich kid. A rich kid exiting the bathroom from a nightclub with short-lived confidence from the cheap capital around his nostrils. Yeah, he made the comparison like it's drugs. He doesn't have a real job, which is a viable business model. And worse, his parents are fed up and about to cut him off. Yep. The markets are about ready to cut these companies off. And I can name one after another, after another, after another. None of these things were real. They weren't. But it was just chasing some sort of far-fetched dream. The difference is that the people operating this thing right now, they wait. It's the dot-com run-up. They made money. The big firms did real well during the dot-com run-up. But the type of money that's being made right now, with these Silicon Valley startups, it pales in comparison. You're talking riches that we haven't seen. You had some kids with goatees back there in the 1990s that got rich on the IPO, and then the thing fell apart. Do you think that crook, Adam Newman from WeWork, is going to be wanting for anything the rest of his life? No. And again, all of the people around him, all of the big investment houses, all of the venture capital firms, they're all in on it. Again. See, I'm an old school capitalist. I'm an Adam Smith capitalist. Said this again and again and again. You can do really well in this world. You can. You can have a great life in this world by doing the right thing, by conducting business, by sitting down with somebody, by not trying to get over on someone. It's not about getting over on someone. That's not what capitalism is about. That's what these people do. They're sociopaths. Do you understand? They don't have a conscience. They don't. They don't care who they rip off. They know exactly what they're doing. They got their own private airplane. What would they care? Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Do that.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Yes, it is. I told you I'm not kidding. I lied to you. We're going to be talking to Kardashians today on the Watchdog of Wall Street. We are. So, well, Kardashians, Jenners, I don't even know how the whole thing works. How the show works, you got people changing genders, you got rap stars in, you got basketball players. I've never watched the show. And I'm not a big reality TV guy because it's a misnomer. It's no such thing as reality and reality TV. But anyway, I saw this story. I don't know where I grabbed this. Oh, New York Post. New York Post story. Kylie Jenner. Now, Kylie Jenner is one of the family there, is part of the whole thing, and she happens to be the youngest self-made billionaire on the planet. That's right. The youngest self-made billionaire. And I understand how the Kardashians and how they go about utilizing social media to build their brand. That's their thing. I'm not building Markowski Investments via social media. Okay? I'm not. But she took some pictures of her and her new $3 million Bugatti. That's a nice car. But she deleted the picture after people went on to her social media account and pointed out that there are people in the world who are starving. How can people justify buying more cars than they possibly need when there are people out there who can't eat? Like, I get it's your money and you earn it, but how do you justify not doing good with it? I just don't get it. The money you spent on this, you could have fed a village for a year at least. Oh, yay, another new car. Meanwhile, there's people struggling to make ends meet and feed themselves. She's got 2 Range Rovers, a Rolls Royce, a Porsche, a Lamborghini, and a Ferrari, now a Bugatti. You know what I say? Good for her. Good for her. I don't have a problem with it at all. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. That's wasteful, Mr. Mark. How could you do? Whoa. Not for me. Not for me. Again, it would drive me psychotic spending that much money on a car like that. But then again, I am also not a billionaire. Okay? I'm not. Let's just look at this from a different angle, shall we? Again, this is stuff, and this is a good story, and I'm suggesting, the reason why I'm talking about this today, I want everybody to follow along. And this is a conversation that you need to have with your kids and your grandkids, because it's a great way to get them to understand the free market and how the world works. Because I can almost guarantee your kids are going to say, yeah, you know, that's probably right. She should probably have used that money to help poor people. Okay. I'm sure she spends a lot of money trying to help poor people. But let's understand something here. When she buys a $3 million Bugatti, she's helping countless people. This is the thing that left-wingers just don't understand. She is helping countless people when she buys a $3 million Bugatti. From the guy that sold her the car, to the dealership that was the guy worked at that sold her the car, to the company that built the car, to the workers that worked at that company, to the suppliers that worked at the company, to all the people that got the raw materials for the car, right on down the line. You can't fathom how many people benefited from Kylie Jenner buying a $3 million Bugatti. This is how the world works. When people spend money and they buy things, I tease my wife all the time. Get off the beaten track. Tease my wife all the time. Donald Trump's going to give you a medal give you a medal for helping to stimulate the economy. Drives her nuts when I do that. But anyway, when people spend money, they're benefiting the economy. Not to mention the fact that Kylie Jenner runs a billion-dollar operation. How many people is Kylie Jenner helping by being an entrepreneur and selling her product? How many people work at her company? And how many suppliers supply her company? Right on down the line. I've talked about this. There is a 1950s short story called I, Pencil. 1950s. Look it up. I can't remember the author. I probably should have written it down. And basically the story is about a pencil and how the CEO of a pencil company would never know all of the people that are involved in the manufacture of that pencil. Where the wood comes from, where the graphite comes from, everything that's involved. This is what I talked about at the beginning part of the program, trying to understand how the free market works. If people stop buying, all you bleeding hearts out there, that's people got to stop buying Ferraris and Bugattis, and people shouldn't go out to the store and buy Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of those luxury items. Let me ask you a question. What's going to happen to those stores and the people that work at those stores and everybody that's involved with those companies? They're going to be unemployed. They are going to be out of work. That's how he flies around in his private jet. Good for him. Guess who's thrilled? Guess who is absolutely thrilled that so-and-so is flying around in a private jet? The pilot. The mechanic, all the people that make those private jets, they are thrilled that so-and-so rich guy is flying around in his private jet. This is how the world works. What, do you want to eliminate that whole aspect of our economy? You ever watch a yacht being built? You see the amount of people that are involved in building a yacht? One of my best friends in the world puts on teak decking on yachts. Do you think he's going to like it if all of a sudden people are going to stop buying boats and yachts? He's not going to be able to make money doing that anymore. Do you understand? I talked about the beginning part of the program. A job is the best social program out there. And when people are out buying and spending and conducting business and you take the money away from all the government programs, the better off you're going to be. I think I mentioned this. I think I might have told this story years ago on the program. It just popped into my mind. And again, I can't remember the author. It was an African economist. It was an African economist wrote this paper. And she was coming down hard on Bono from U2. Bono and all of the other do-gooders that are trying to fix Africa. Yeah, it's that song. That song by Coldplay. It's a great song, Fix You. Yeah, they're trying to fix Africa. So here they come. Here comes Bono and his... And hey, listen, I had good intentions. Here they come into a village in Africa, and they're going to start handing out mosquito nets. Here you go. Everybody gets a free mosquito nets. We're trying to prevent malaria and all these things. So here we go. Here's all these mosquito nets. Yeah, there's a company, there's a business not far outside the village that makes mosquito nets. Now, the company doesn't have enough workers, doesn't have enough capital to expand, can't satisfy the demand for the mosquito nets. But what happens to that mosquito net company and all the workers at that company when Bono hands them out for free? Done. Gone. Out of business. It's over. How does that help? No. You want to quote unquote fix these economies, what you need to do is get out of the way. You need to provide them capital so they can build their business and they can expand. You ever notice that? That the poorest countries in the world are always the countries where it is most difficult to start a business year in, year out. Poorest countries in the world are the countries that are most difficult to start a business. We need to have a day. We got lots of holidays here in this country, do we not? We got Columbus Day, and that one's come under fire. Got all sorts of holidays here. We need an Entrepreneur Day. And guess what? We can have Entrepreneur Day, and everybody will still go to work because that's what entrepreneurs do. They work. They work and they work and they work 7 days a week, tirelessly, hours that you don't even see. That's part of the problem. You get this disconnect out there. People don't understand. You're looking, I saw this past week, millennials have a really poor, they look at rich people in a poor light. What? If you're making money, honestly, why would you look at someone like that in a bad light? Do you understand what it took for that person to get there? Do you have any idea how hard it is to succeed? The hours that you have to put in. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Again, everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. We need an Entrepreneur Day because they're heroes. They're heroes. Look at Kylie Jenner. I don't care. The money she spends, the vacation she goes on. What do you think that the bellhops and the waiters and waitresses when they go out to eat aren't liking the tips that they're getting when they spend that money? Damn straight they are. I used to be a waiter. You didn't think I liked my wealthy clients coming in and spending a fortune? Most certainly did. Anyway, I told you, Kylie Jenner is a hero. Self-made billionaire. Use this. Talk to your kids. Explain it to them. Help them to understand how the world really works. Not what some left-wing lunatic teacher at their school is telling them, or the internet, or some idiot politician is telling them. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, our newsletter. Consultations with our certified financial planners. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
I have a picture pinned to my wall.
The Thompson Twins. Some good 80s tunes today. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Markowski. Been doing my best to take the liars, the crooks, the cheats out behind the woodshed for a few decades now. Trying my best. Anyway, oh, wow. I just grabbed this. Sorry. I looked up a column that I did, and again, I remember writing it. Isn't it weird? Certain memories pop in your head. I've written countless columns over the years. I remember actually sitting down, writing, visualizing it in my mind. I remember my son bouncing around my office at 4 years old. Now I'm taking him on college visits. Yeah, this one I wrote, Financial Parasites versus Gordon Gekko, back in November 2006. Back then I was talking about how all of these private equity companies out there, all these private equity companies were not helping, they're working along with the big Wall Street firms, not helping American business, actually doing the exact opposite, acting as a parasite. It's this weird offshoot we have American capitalism, where we've created our own parasites that will feed and feed and feed on certain American businesses until they die. Then they move on to the next company. A good example of this, you would take a look at Sears and Kmart. That great example of a parasite killing a company. Now, I back in a column that I wrote back in November 2006, I was talking about Gordon Gekko in the movie Wall Street. Now, Hollywood takes great liberties with Master of the Universe types on Wall Street. Gordon Gekko. I cited Richard Gere's character, Edward Lewis, in Pretty Woman. There's Tom Hanks playing Sherman McCoy in Bonfire of the Vanities. Anyway, Gordon Gekko got caught insider trading against the law. His job back on the program, his real job where he made real money, was doing what? He was corporate raider. Is what he was. And that happened a lot back in the 80s. And it was good. What was it? What did the corporate raiders do back then? They would step into a company that was run inefficiently. The management was doing a terrible job, tons of waste. They would come in and they would clean house, and they would make the company efficient again. Well, that's changed with private equity. Private equity comes in and they bleed a company dry. Or, like we're seeing now, we're seeing private equity stepping into businesses, stepping in, putting all sorts of debt on the company's balance sheets, and then raising the prices on these products to unaffordable rates. Now, you're going to say to yourself, well, if somebody does that, what do you mean unaffordable rates? Whatever products they're selling, people will stop buying. Oh, wait a second. What if that product happens to be emergency room services? Oh, wait a second. Yeah. Private equity groups. How many people out there have had to go to an emergency room? And I've got 3 kids, lots of sports. How many people have had to go to an emergency room and you come back and you get this surprise bill and you're like, what the? Are you kidding me? What? Yeah. Private equity has got involved in emergency room services. And when they buy up these various different groups, they buy them with borrowed money that they put on the company's balance sheet, and then they raise the prices of the services. And again, emergency service is a good one because guess what? Guess what? People are going to still go to the emergency room. They have no choice. It's kind of brilliant in a Dr. Evil, James Bond villain sort of way. You got to hand it to these people. I mean, these guys go to Ivy League schools. Do they have a class in like financial evil at Harvard Business? Do they? I mean, they must. I mean, you got to be a creative, evil genius to come up with this and go home at night and kiss your kids and think that you're a good guy. Like I said, these people are sociopaths. And it's their fault. It's their fault why so many youngsters out there can't stand capitalism, hate capitalism, because they don't know what it is. Financial engineers. These people don't build. They don't create anything. And we explained how to stop them. Break up the big banks. Real simple. Go back. We had Glass-Steagall. It worked just fine. Love to get that back. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Again, take advantage of all the great stuff we have right there. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Consultations with our certified financial planners. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street. Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Every day my mind is all around you.
was just thinking about an almost fight I got into. This is going back to the 1990s at a bar in New York. I was at the time I was in litigation against a investment firm based upon what they were doing to their clients, and they had more money than I did, so they said, we'll just sue you for everything and anything based upon what you're trying to do. And believe it or not, I won. But what did I win? Nothing. I didn't win anything. It just keeps going after me. So what? I won. Didn't make any difference. Their clients still lost. People lost a ton. What was the point? And I bumped into their lawyer, at a bar. And he wanted to kill him, obviously. I had nothing. I'd spent all my money on lawyers. For what? Didn't get anything. I didn't win anything. What am I going to do? I got to hire a lawyer again and countersue? And this guy was real aloof. It was like, you don't get it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're right. It doesn't matter. It's all opinion. What if you were wrong? What if all these stocks worked out? How do you know? I knew that they weren't, but his point is that they could basically do whatever they wanted, and it wasn't going to matter. And this is the moral component that has gone missing in many aspects of life in America, in more ways than one. If you listen to my podcast, again, I suggest it's only about a half an hour. I try to keep it no longer than a half an hour every single day. I'm trying to go back to the old, 1960s, 1970s news model. I pick the stories that I feel are important, a few of them that are the really important stories of the day, and I break them down. And I go after the mainstream media and tell you all the BS. So I keep it around a half an hour. Many of the stories I've done over the course of this week is obviously talking about what's going on in China and the NBA, because I think that this is, quite frankly, an extraordinary story. And we're watching the tide go out, and we as a country can see that everyone's swimming naked. They're all full of it. They're all full of crap. When it comes time for Steve Kerr or LeBron James or James Harden or Steph Curry to inject themselves into some controversy, they will do it. They will do it when they know that there's no difficulty involved. It's not going to hurt their bottom line. It's not going to hurt their pocket. They know that there are concentration camps in China, but they also know that they're making a lot of money there as well. Again, it is a great teachable moment for your kid. Oh, these are your heroes? Are they? Oh, are they all woke, huh? They all woke? Maybe we all need to wake up a little bit. It was funny. It was not this past week, but the week before's episode of South Park. Again, one of the most intelligent programs on television. It is what it is. It's one of the smartest shows on TV. Before this NBA thing even happened, they did they made fun of China, something ridiculous. They brought the Disney Corporation back into it. And on South Park, Disney is headed up by Mickey Mouse. It's like an evil Mickey Mouse. And how they're sending over all the Disney heroes and Star Wars characters to go over there to kiss China's butt. And how we have to censor everything here in the United States so it can be aired in China. And they'll buy our products. And how we kiss their buttocks for $1. for $1. I'm going to go to break. Was flipping stations this past week. And there was a scene, I love the movie Kindergarten Cop, where the kids were pledging allegiance. And I thinking about it a little bit, and I said to myself, well, are we really even going to do that anymore? Or are we just going to pledge allegiance to $? More on this when we get back. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Get our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, everything at our website, WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Dragging the line.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Her hair is hollow gold, her lips sweet surprise. Her hands are never cold.
Either we're gonna remain a free country and we're gonna believe in free speech, or we're not. How much does it cost to sell your soul? Huh? LeBron, Harden, Adam Silver, all of you others out there. How much does it cost to sell your soul, sell your country out? That's what they're doing. Listen, I don't think we're going to change China. I don't. I think China's going to have to change all by itself. But when something like this comes up, they're all upset because Houston Rockets GM puts out a tweet about democracy in Hong Kong. You know what we do? We give them the proverbial middle finger. You see, guys, in our country, we can say and do what we want. Hey, you guys want to suppress that over there? We can't do anything about it. But don't you dare tell us what to do. Got it? Oh, you're going to tear down our NBA stuff. You're going to cancel the games. What? So what? What, you think that your citizens are going to enjoy watching your own homegrown basketball league over ours? What, are you kidding? Who cares? I want everybody to think about this, too. China is so strong and all so powerful, right? Why would they be freaking out? Freaking out over a tweet by a general manager of the Houston Rockets. Think about that for a second. Why would that bother them to such a degree? Well, obviously, they've got their issues over there. You can do things the way you want to do things. We're going to be critical of the way you treat your Muslim minorities. We're going to be critical of the things that you want to do with Christians and Christianity there. You can criticize us all you want. Have at it. We're not going to care. You can criticize us all you want. You know, I did this a long time ago. We talked about this on the program. I don't buy stuff from China. That's the problem. We can't get together on anything here in this country because, again, we care about money more than anything else. Like I said, Wall Street Journal, all the big businesses, CNBC, oh, my God, these terrible tariffs that Donald Trump is putting on all these products. Oh, my God, this is awful. How can we do all this? It's terrible. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're trying to get our country back. Do you understand? Too many people in the past have sold it. Sold us out. And quite frankly, I don't get it. You know what I would be doing? I mentioned this on the podcast. I said I would be doing outreach to Russia. I honestly want to be talking to Vladimir Putin. Say, Vlad, we're going to be moving some of our factories out of China. Do any of your people in your country need jobs? Move some factories there. I don't care what the Chinese do. I get it. It's a big market. It's a big market. And the people want to buy stuff. But guess what? They keep copying our stuff. We can't have that happen. That relationship cannot continue. You guys want to do things your way. We got to stay out of other countries' business. If we want to be critical of something, we can. Because that's what we can do here. You guys want to shut everybody up? Well, that's your country. You can do that too. And we have to stop pledging allegiance to the immediate profit, the immediate bottom line, and look at the bigger picture. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Again, South Park killed it the past couple of weeks. You got to have a watch. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
You know, I don't know if you saw this. I don't know how much press it got. I really don't pay too much attention to mainstream media anymore. Certain places I go to get my news and follow up everything, but most certainly not television. I don't know if you saw the letter that was put out by a bunch of congressional members of Congress, and the list of people that signed on this went from, no joke, Ron Wyden to Ben Sass to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to Ted Cruz. All signed off on a letter to the NBA saying, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Stop kissing their butt. Stop. If I was Adam Silver, I would have been like, guys, I'm out. So we're going to go home now. We're not going to play any exhibition games here. We're out of here. See ya. Well, you guys can watch your own little basketball league. Have at it. Because we'll be just fine. Anyway. Social Security. The debate has shifted from benefit cuts to bigger checks. Again, we live in a world where, guess what? We must have a magical money tree somewhere that's just gonna keep spewing out money to pay for all of these things that we can't afford. And I talked about this past week. The last time a politician tried to do anything about entitlements was George W. Bush, and this was back in 2004. And it would have been great. He had a great plan, a great initiative to start privatizing, having private accounts. This is back in 2004. Now, he wasn't shut down by Democrats, even though Democrats were running some advertisements and holding some picketing and protests at various different Social Security Administration offices. It was Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell said, no, you can't do that. No. And, hey, listen, his reasoning was this. We don't have the political capital. And we were busy fighting stupid wars in the Middle East, and we needed to waste all of our political capital on that crap. So, no, it didn't get done. Now they're talking about higher checks, and each and every one of these candidates is talking about raising the FICA tax. Do you understand what this is going to do to small business owners? Do you understand what it's going to do? Do you have any idea? It's going to create like a donut hole. What you're going to pay your 14% all the way up to the initial limit, and then they're going to start it again over $250,000. And I think that's 14% to the individual over $250,000. Then you take into account if you're a small business owner, you got to play the employer portion as well. There's going to be a point in time where you're paying 75% of your income in taxes. And at that point in time, you're going to do what? Shut it down. You're going to shut it down. You're going to say to yourself, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not going to work 80, 100, 120-hour weeks at my business to have the government take 75% of what I make. I don't understand how this you can't get this through the thick skulls of you people on the left. Do you understand that there's a point in time where we're not going to do it anymore? We're not. Now, I'm going to moment of honesty right now. we at Markowski Investments, we've been busting our butt. We're helping people all over the country. We're bringing in new clients from all over the country. We're taking on new offices, training people, putting on advisors, working our tail off. I'm taking a look, and I'm saying the amount of revenues that we're doing, and God willing, it continues. And I'm taking a look, and I said, we're doing great, but it's going out the door. And taxes, and regulations, and this state, and that state. There's a new thing all the time. Every single time I turn around, there's another government agency with their hand in my pocket. And actually talking to my wife about it, I said, I love where I live here. But it's oppressive. With the taxation, it's gotten to the point where it's oppressive. And I've gotten real close to the edge, to that point in time where I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm out. I'm going to have to move. I don't want to move again, but I'm not going to destroy myself. I'm not going to be an idiot. And then I said, start thinking about it. And I said, it's not just dollars and cents. It's your kids. And I said, all right, my youngest is in 8th grade. So I can see if I can hang in here for another 5 years. But I don't want to. But they're making me. And that's something that people need to understand. All of you people out there that keep banging the drum for more taxes, more taxes, more taxes. You don't seem to understand how much people are paying. Anyway. I talk about Social Security. Did you see what the federal deficit? $984 billion. That's the highest it's been in 7 years. 4.7% of gross domestic product. You're talking almost $1 trillion, people. Almost $1 trillion. And I gotta laugh to some degree. How everybody remember when all the Republicans were bent out of shape when Barack Obama was spending all this money? Hey, we're going to do sequestration and we're going to do this, and then there's the Boehner and Obama battle. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody even takes it into consideration. How is that wise? Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, all sorts of fantastic stuff at our website, Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.